All right, let's just dive right into this explainer. Have you ever wondered how a brand actually manages to convince people to buy a bottle of shampoo that costs, 10 times more than the one sitting in your shower right now? Well, today we're decoding the playbook of Kérastase in India, a brand that has completely flipped the script on everyday personal care, totally transforming it into this high-end luxury experience.
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the 2,900 rupee challenge, move into how they sell solutions instead of just soap, look at the power of personalization, break down their luxury ecosystem, and wrap up with Kérastase's future strategy in India. Let's get to it.
Starting off with part 1, the 2,900 rupee shampoo challenge.
2,900 rupees. Just think about that for a second. For most of us, shampoo's just a basic commodity, right? You toss it in your grocery cart and don't think twice. But a staggering price like this for a standard 250 milliliter bottle instantly sets Kérastase in an entirely different stratosphere from those mass-market brands. They're operating in a completely different world, which means they need a fundamentally different set of rules to actually get consumers to open their wallets.
So, to sustain that massive premium, Kérastase obviously isn't targeting everyone. They're zooming in on urban, affluent Indian consumers, specifically millennials and Gen Z. Listen, these are people who view hair care not as a chore, but as an investment. They are totally willing to pay a premium to protect expensive salon treatments or solve very specific, stubborn hair problems.
Which brings us to part 2, selling solutions, not soap.
The secret sauce here is a strategy called premiumization. Kérastase flat out refuses to compete on price. Instead, they completely shift the conversation. You aren't buying a generic cleanser anymore. You're investing in a highly specialized professional hair care solution. It's all about creating this premium value proposition where a specific problem gets a professional diagnosis, a specialized product, and ultimately a luxurious result.
Think about how you usually buy shampoo. You stand in an aisle and ask yourself, well, which generic brand is on sale today? The Kérastase journey flips that entirely. It starts with a completely different question. What does my hair actually need? They step in as the expert, diagnose the issue, and then prescribe a routine. It genuinely feels more like a medical consultation than a retail transaction.
And look at how this specialization actually builds out their whole ecosystem. Got hair fall? You don't just grab a generic soap, you're prescribed their Genesis line. Frizz in humid weather? You need Discipline. Color treated? That's Chroma Absolute. This is brilliant because it gives you a clear, undeniable reason to choose them, and it immediately sets up a cross-sell for the matching conditioner and serum. You aren't just buying a shampoo, you're buying a complete, targeted regimen.
But how do you avoid overwhelming the consumer with all those options? That leads us to part 3, the power of personalization.
They completely eliminate the guesswork. It kicks off online with this really quick 2-minute digital hair quiz. But step into an actual salon, and it goes totally high-tech, with case scan and AI-powered scalp diagnosis. By doing all of this diagnosing before the selling even happens, that high-priced purchase feels expertly curated just for you. It feels like a bespoke service entirely mapped out for your specific needs.
Moving right along to part 4, building a luxury ecosystem.
Notice how incredibly structured their influencer strategy is here. A luxury brand can't just slap a famous celebrity's face on a bottle and expect you to fork over 2,900 rupees. It just doesn't work. Celebrities create the initial aspiration, sure, but it's the beauty creators who actually prove the product works, and the micro-influencers who give those authentic, real-world reviews that finally convince you to hit buy. Their premium positioning literally demands visible proof of expertise.
And honestly, their absolute secret weapon in all of this, the salon itself. Just think about this loop for a second. It starts with an in-salon experience or treatment. The stylist gives you a professional recommendation, which triggers you to buy the product to use at home. When it inevitably works, you buy it again, and you return to the salon. The salon is acting as a consultation room, a sampling ground, and a distribution channel all at once. It's a perfect loop.
And to keep that prestige intact, you are absolutely not going to find Kérastase sitting in your neighborhood supermarket. They intentionally restrict availability to their official website, their premium partner salons, and select e-commerce platforms. This deliberate scarcity is a feature, not a bug, guys. It perfectly preserves that luxury image while still capturing the affluent digital buyer.
Which brings us to our final section, part 5, Kérastase's future India strategy. So here is the reality check for the Indian market. While Kérastase has massive strengths in luxury positioning and AI tech, their biggest threat is basic economics. Price sensitivity is a real hurdle here. Their sky-high price naturally limits accessibility, and as we know, frequent discounting is essentially brand suicide for luxury. So navigating this hyper-competitive space requires some very specific strategic pivots to maintain their dominance.
To survive that, their first major pivot is intense localization. They literally have to ditch the generic, global, luxury shampoo for beautiful hair ads. Nobody's buying that. Instead, they hit local pain points head-on. They say, frizz in Mumbai weather, damage from daily heat styling, boom, here is your exact routine. The price tag only makes sense if the solution feels hyper-local and tailored directly to that consumer's actual lived experience.
But how do you actually get more people to try it without slashing that 2,900 rupee price tag? Well, you just scale down the size. Mini and travel sizes, discovery kits, low-cost salon samples. It's such a brilliant workaround. They let consumers experience the luxury and the efficacy of the product without the brand ever having to run a cheap, brand-damaging discount sale. And finally, they're tackling customer retention by leaning hard into sustainability. They're pushing these 500 milliliter refillable bottles and pouches by turning eco-friendly packaging into an exclusive Kérastase refill club. Complete with early access perks, they completely transform a green initiative into a powerful engine for long-term customer loyalty.
So we've seen how Kérastase manages to balance absolute exclusivity with hyper-targeted problem-solving in a market that is incredibly price-sensitive. But as they lean heavier and heavier into digital quizzes, in-salon AI scanners, and these refillable loyalty loops, it leaves us with one massive question to chew on. Will these high-tech, sustainability-driven strategies become the mandatory new standard for all luxury beauty brands looking to survive the future? Food for thought.